was a young Matilda and is now a lifetime Matilda. And she's going to give us a little bit of an insight before the game as to what it is like. I asked my goddaughter, who is very, very football mad, for questions that she might like to know. And hopefully we'll get some answers. So please make a very warm welcome for Ellen Beaumont. Thanks, Rachel. Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have a Matilda on stage at the FIFA Fan Festival. Now, you were 7 when you started playing football. And at the time, there were no girls' teams, so you had to be part of the boys' team.
Right.
How much has the game changed since then?
It has changed massively. Now the young girls can just be on a girls' team or a boys' team as well, up until generally the age of under 12s. The game has changed. Like, look at the fans here tonight. You're all in Matilda's jerseys. Woohoo!
And so as a kid, who inspired you? And I guess, how important do you think role models are for kids in the realm of football, and especially female role models?
Well, when I first started playing, I didn't know we had a women's national team. I didn't know there was the Matildas. I actually had a Pele VHS that I used to watch him dribbling and doing heading. So I actually learned to head a ball from Pele off his VHS, so I'm just showing my age. So I think it's really important to have female role models for young girls and boys here at the World Cup, so they can look up to them and see themselves and see their future, that they can aim and strive towards the national squad.
And did you have any role models back then?
Kathy Freeman?
Yeah, but no football, female football.
No female. I didn't know the Matildas existed when I was young. I watched Manchester United back in '95. Sorry, but yeah, I had a jersey and I watched men's football. I didn't know the women's football existed until I got a little bit older.
So what an incredible change. Of all the sports you could choose when you were young growing up, I know you used to play with your brothers, but why football? Why did you choose that to pursue so brilliantly?
My brother played, so I played as well, but I just love kicking a ball against the wall, kicking on my driveway, playing in the street, and it was just for the love of the game. I just fell in love with playing football, and I did it every day at school, when I come home with my friends, and I just love football. You play for the love of the game, and when we got to the Matildas, you play for the pride of your jersey.
Are there any young footballers out there tonight? Yes, lots of hands. So if you could give all of these young people some advice about what they could do if they wanted to be future Matildas, what would it be?
To have fun, number one. Practice, and enjoy it. And dream big. Like, all the future Matildas are here and watching the World Cup, and we're going to see the next generation of Matildas come through. So,
So on that, because I feel like there's a substantial change in our optimism about this with all of the young people now coming through. What has been your favourite thing about this World Cup right here in Australia?
there's many. Can I say more than one thing?
You can say more than one thing. You can say as many things as you like.
So number one would be the France penalty shootout. Surviving that as a fan, I think I was happy, crying, laughing. My blood pressure went through the roof. So getting through that penalty shootout was amazing to be at Suncorp. Brisbane Stadium with all our fans and the whole stadium going off.
Does anyone resonate with that? Did anyone else lose a few years of their life during the Australia-France
A few more
game?
grey hairs. And I think, getting the nation together. Like, the nation now knows who the Matildas are. Half the country has watched it on TV, and we've set records in crowd numbers, in merchandise, in TV viewing, and rocking up to places like the FIFA Fan Fest today. So, thank you.
So, I think what some of the young people would like to know is, what is it like that moment you find out that you have made it into the young Matildas?
Young Matildas and the Matildas, which...
But so first of all, the young Matildas, like, what happens? Do you get a call? Do you get an email? Well, you wouldn't have got an email back then, would you?
No, mate.
you
didn't exist.
Do they call you in? Like, what happens? What's the process?
We have lots of training. We have a lot of training teams and practices down at the Australian Institute of Sport prior to major events or tournaments. So we did have a squad, and then the squad gets, cut down to, say, 23 players. We are told by the coach if we're selected or not, and yeah, it was exciting. It was a proud moment. After working so hard to train 10 times a week to get into the squad, it was very rewarding, and like all that hard work was done, but it's even harder then to stay in the team and earn your spot on the field.
So 10 times a week, young people, young footballers out there, 10 times a week. What does that look like? Your training sessions, how long do 10 times a week go for?
That's
and what does it involve? Is it like
take my memory back.
Sit-ups?
Yeah, we used to have a gym routine, so we used to do gym of a morning. Back then I had to go to work, so Matildas now thankfully have that as a profession, but do the gym in the morning, go to work and go back to the field of the afternoon, and you do that most days.
So then, to your next point, you get the call that you have made it to be a Matilda. Can you talk us through that process? And I'm interested in, how do they tell you?
I think that was a phone call that time. We had emails by then. It was a surreal moment. You feel like a little bit like you're there with Matildas that have been, Cheryl Salisbury, Di Allegich, Kate McShay, Alicia Ferguson, Claire Polkinghorne. You're with those players who have been there for 10, 15 years, and you just look up to them and think, wow, I'm training with my new teammates. So it's a pretty amazing feeling, and yeah, the young Matildas out there now today can look up and you'll be teammates with some of the girls on the pitch tonight.
Could you maybe give us an idea? We were downstairs in the dressing room and Ellen said, oh look, they're warming up. We've got a screen that shows them warming up at the moment. Can you tell us what they might be going through? If you are a Matilda, you're warming up right now on the field, you've got thousands of people here and thousands, 75,000 or whatever elsewhere. What is going through your mind? What is the psychology while you are about to play a game where the stakes are this high?
Very routine-based. So athletes are routine-based. The repetition, you go through your normal steps. You might have your little game idiosyncrasies where you put your left boot on first, your right boot on second, your left, you go through your normal game routine, your normal warm-up, but they're going to be excited, they're going to be pumped up, the crowd will be cheering for them. So just containing that excitement and using that on the field tonight, I think, is what they'll be going through. They'll be proud, they'll be happy for the fans and their families. But yeah, routine, making sure they're hydrated, they've eaten the right food. They'll just be ready to go. So if they're anything as excited as I am as a fan, yeah, they'll save it for the field.
I'd love to ask you, looking out now from where you've come from, being a 7-year-old who played with your brothers, started to play in a boys' team, made it to the young Matildas and then the Matildas. Now you see a landscape where not only is a lot of people, females, playing the sport, but we actually have crowds like this incredible FIFA Fan Festival, the sellouts of stadiums. What do you think the impact will be long-term, in the longer run, for the game?
Well, during the FIFA Trophy Tour prior to the World Cup starting, we actually met Christine Lilly, a famous American player. And when they hosted the World Cup in 1999, it changed the country in America for them. They've got more female players.